All right, so let's talk about digital protection. So digital protection, this is something, of course, most of what we're doing probably right now is online, especially now, right? With the pandemic that we're all facing. Um, Even if you weren't doing as many things online, you're kind of being forced to do more things online now. Example, the way that we're doing this presentation. So digital protection, there's a couple of sites you can go to. The site listed here, www.onguardonline.gov. It's an FTC site. Um, and it will kind of really walk you through some of the options that you have to protect yourself and how some of these fraudulent schemes are presented. So we're going to talk about a few now. So avoid being hooked by phishing scams. What is phishing? Phishing is a term coined by computer hackers who use email to phish the internet, hoping to hook you into giving your logins, passwords, and or credit card information. Do not reply to email pop-up messages or text messages that ask for personal identifying information. Do not click on links with messages either. Um, when in doubt, contact your financial institution directly via a known website address or a known telephone number. So what happens with phishing, guys, you may get an email or a text message and it will have the exact logos and branding of an institution that you do business with. But they may tell you, it may have an alarming message like, we need you to call us now. We think someone may have hacked your account, or we please log into your account to take advantage of this promotional offer. Things like that, because if you log in, now they have your information and now you're vulnerable. So just be very mindful of emails that present themselves like that. I would say typically if you get promotions in the mail, you can always go to the website outside of the links in the email. You can always go to their website and then pull up your account. And usually if the promotion or offer is legitimate, then it's referenced somewhere in your account or on their website, and that you can, or give them a call that you can refer to. So keep that in mind. Only conduct personal business on secure websites. For example, if the site has the HTTPS, that S stands for security. So for example, like the Connects Federal Credit Union website, that site is secured. Also check for secure area padlock icon. And again, typically your secure sites, it'll be the URL will be HTTPS. And then also you'll see this padlock icon as well. And that lets you know that that particular site is secured. Maintain, update your antivirus, firewall, or spyware software. Buyer beware when purchasing items via online auction sites. Use secure payment systems or credit cards because you have more dispute protection. Never purchase with money orders or cash. Consider maintaining one credit card earmarked for internet purchases only. So in that case, because I'll be honest with you guys, there's not a 100% fail-proof way to protect yourself from identity theft. But what you can do is maybe try to limit your exposure and what the damage would cause. So for example, if you have a credit card that you typically make online purchases with, it's a credit card. So let's just say if someone were if that card was compromised and someone was able to get that account and make charges, you can always call your credit card company. They're usually pretty good at investigating it. They'll lock down the card, issue you a new account while they investigate. Well, it's a credit card. So this isn't money that is actually coming out of your personal bank account. So it's a little bit different when it's your cash. And maybe if it takes the bank a couple of days to be able to work things out, if you're in a bind and now all of a sudden you don't have any cash that you can access. But if it's a credit card, then at that point, you may be able to go a couple of days because you still have some cash in the bank, or maybe you have another credit card. So we would just say maybe keep one credit card earmarked for your internet online purchases only. Use a dummy email account. So for example, most places now will ask you for your email and they want to put you on their marketing list, or they want to send you coupons. And these are great things. You can find a lot of deals, get a lot of sales. So I'm not saying not to do that. But what you want to do is maybe have an email account designated for that. Because remember, the more emails you have coming through with promotions and spam, the more likely it is that you may have some that account can be compromised because of all the activity happening there. So you can set up free email accounts. They're available. I mean, one of the probably more popular ones now are Gmail. You still have Yahoo and I mean, tons of other ones. So I would say set up a free email account and let that be the one that you give like merchants when they want to add you to their marketing list and email list. Um, if it gets compromised or email bombed with spam, you can drop it and start over because you really don't have anyone communicating with you there. It's just you're using it for, say, marketing materials. But reserve your primary email for your family and friends. And the less clutter in your inbox, the easier it is not only for you to communicate with your family and friends, but also identify if an email comes over that looks a little strange. So change your login IDs and passwords. Make your passwords long. Don't use a common phrase. Don't reuse your passwords, and don't store your passwords within your browser. Use maybe some security software that has a two-factor authentication on it. That is really good as well. Now, I know some of this stuff probably sounds a little unrealistic, right? Like, who wants to make their passwords long? Because you have so many of them, so it's hard to remember. And yes, your default is you want to use a common phrase because it's easier to remember. And then, or you want to maybe reuse your password so you'll know, like, 9 out of 10, my password is going to be one of two things. Those are all things that are very common for most of us to do. Unfortunately, that leaves you very vulnerable as well for hackers because one of the things that they will do as a strategy, if they're able to hack one of your accounts, they're going to try that password with other accounts that you may have because they know the default is maybe using the same password across multiple accounts. So just kind of keep that in mind. The two-factor authentication is really good because then not only do you have to get in two different ways. So you may have to log in and then you may have a text message sent to your phone that has a security code that you have to put in after that. So again, might be a little bit tedious, but it will protect you because, for example, if someone were to try to hack your account, but then you get a text on your cell phone saying, "Here's your new security code to access our site," and you're thinking, "Wait a minute, I haven't tried to access this site. Why am I getting this text message?" That could be a red flag for you right there to maybe make a call to that institution or take a look at your accounts and just see if there's been any attempts of fraud or someone trying to log into your account. Avoid using common computers for sensitive personal business, online bill payment, checking investment accounts, uh, internet cafes, at work, on vacation, business trips, public libraries. So I know with you guys are students, so your workplace, or potentially were students, you have your workplace, and then you may have like the online libraries with the public computers. We don't really suggest that you do like personal business such as that on computers that are being shared by multiple people. It leaves you open in regards to being able to, although most of those computers have software on them that as you log out of it, it's supposed to like wipe your browsers clean. But it's just one of those things that we don't suggest because if someone is very computer savvy, like most hackers are, then they can usually break through those codes and firewalls. So just keep that in mind when you're using computers that are in common areas in public places. Okay, limit the amount of personal information available on your social media profile, such as date of birth, address, etc. So social media, guys, this is a way that, I mean, a lot of identity that now is coming from social media because a lot of us, like, we tell a lot of our lives on social media. So when you're about, it tells a lot of information about you, but be mindful of that. Like, I don't know if you want your address on social media for people to view. Do you really want them to have your full date of birth? And maybe you put the month and day, but not the year. So it's not necessarily that type of information because date of birth is a common way that people identify you. So just be mindful of that. Proactively manage your social media privacy settings and limit profile information, and only accept friends and followers from people you know. Limit the amount of time and place data that you expose through social media. So, for example, if you know that you're going to go on a great trip to Spain, you may want to wait until you're back from that trip before you start posting about it and letting everyone know that you went to Spain. And the reason why, because if you're letting people know where you are, you're on vacation, if someone, because guys, keep in mind, identity theft isn't always people who don't know you. Sometimes it's being committed by people that you know, people that you consider family, friends, or coworkers. So it could be a situation where someone knows where you live, and then you're posting about like, hey, I'm out of town right now, and they know like, okay, well, I can go to their home because no one's there. So just be mindful of how you're reporting the time and the places that you're going on social media, just because you don't want to leave yourself open. I can't tell you the number of times we've seen fraud, and it was being committed by someone's family member or coworker or someone they consider a friend, and they took advantage of their information or just the comfort of them sharing information. So just be mindful of that. So, because yes, even people you know can be identity thieves. So just keep that in mind. And I know it's a hard thing to think about, but unfortunately, we've seen that several times. Um, Identity thieves, they monitor chat rooms, dating, and social networking sites for victims. After gaining a victim's trust, they may ask for money, out of the country business trip emergencies, cashier's checks, converted to cash and wired to, say, an online lover. So just be mindful of those scams. You can report scams like that if you ever get like those emails saying that I'm a prince in Egypt, and uh, we want to send you $1 million because we found out you're a family heir. Things like that. Just keep that in mind because, again, normally it'll say, for us to get the wire to you, we need you to send us X amount of dollars. So keep all that in mind, and you can report those scams to the website listed here. So here's some action steps for identity theft victims. And again, guys, unfortunately, there's a good chance that most of us will be victim of identity theft in one way or another. So here's some things that you can do if you were to find yourself in that situation. Contact all creditors and financial institutions to inform them of the fraud and place a hold or freeze on your account. If your checks are stolen or have been counterfeited, contact the major check verification companies to notify retailers not to accept the checks from your compromised accounts. And that would be through telechecks, and that's the phone number for telecheck right there. To find out if an identity thief has been passing bad checks in your name, you can also call this number here. We suggest that you contact each of the three major credit bureau fraud units to report the identity theft and add a fraud alert statement to your credit profile. And again, those are the numbers and the websites for the three major credit bureaus, so you can report that. Contact law enforcement immediately and maintain a copy of the police report from your local police, U.S. Postal Inspection Service, Social Security Administration, FBI, or the United States Secret Service. You can file a complaint with the FTC, and you can do that at the website below, www.identitytheft.gov, or you can call them at 877 ID theft. The good thing is there, if you are a victim of identity theft, what's great about them, they will help you set up a recovery plan and put your plan and help you put your plan into action. Because again, a lot of times if this happens, you're almost like, I don't know what to do. Where do I start? So they do a really good job of just helping you set that plan up and walking you through how do you put it in action? What are your next steps? If you find yourself a victim of tax fraud, you can call the IRS Identity Theft Protection Unit at the number listed here. Also, as a resident of Virginia, you can contact the Virginia Office of the Attorney General. They can issue you a a VA or Virginia identity theft passport, which will allow you to have a card that will indicate that you are a victim of identity theft. Keep detailed notes of all of your conversations that you're having with your financial institutions or any of these agencies. You want to keep the names of who you spoke with, the dates, the times, and what were the key discussion points.